So, good day to all of you. We are now on the second part of the topic forecasting, okay, in productivity and quality tools subject. So, I will be discussing the how to measure the forecasting error. Okay, so I will be sharing now my screen. Now, in measuring forecast error, we have these methods. Okay, we have mean absolute deviation, and the mean absolute percent error or MAPE, and dito MAD, okay? So in measuring MAD or mean absolute deviation, we have this formula, actual less the forecast over N, which is the period, okay? Ayan. So we have here an example. So during the past 8 quarters, the port of Baltimore has unloaded large quantities of grain from ships. The port's operations manager wants to test the use of exponential smoothing to see how well the technique works in predicting tonnage unloaded. He guesses that the forecast of grain unloaded in the first quarter was 175 tons. So, forecast pa lang yan. So, two values of A, or yung exponential value natin, smoothing value, will be examined, 0.10 and 0.50. So, in this problem, or in this video tutorial, para hindi tayo matagalan, we will only be using the first type of exponential smoothing value, which is 0.10. Okay? So, ayan. So, we have here data. Ito yung quarter, 1, 2, 3, hanggang 9. Then, this, on the next column, we have the actual tonnage unloaded. Ito yung mga actual natin. Okay? Ito yung forecast natin using 0.10. Pero ito yung natin na formula or solution. And this will be our answer. Naglagay na lang ako ng separate ng separate column for the answer para alam natin or masundan natin ng mga viewers like you guys kung paano na-derive itong amounts na to. Okay? Ayan. So, sabi dito sa problem, okay, Port of Baltimore guesses that the forecast of grain unloaded in the first quarter was 175. Forecast pa lang yan. So therefore, on the next quarter, okay, yan yung magiging natin, magiging problema. Ano ba yung magiging forecast natin or units of forecast on the next month or the next quarter? So, ayan. Ganun pa din, okay, actual, less forecast, okay, over the N or periods. Okay, but here, for you to get the forecast using the 0.10 exponential smoothing value, okay, so you need to use the last year's forecast, which is last quarter's forecast rather, which is 175, and then multiply it by 0.10. And then bakit sir may 180 less 175? This is actually the actual less the forecast. 'Di ba yung actual natin, ito kapag dito na tayo sa quarter na to, ang magiging base natin ng actual and forecast will be previous. Previous pa din, kaya meron tayong actual less the forecast. Okay, ito Yan. Okay, lagyan natin ng ayan. So therefore, kapag andito na tayo na quarter, ito yung gagamitin nating values which will be the basis on the next quarter. So 175, okay? So ayan plus 0.10, okay? Then this 10.10 will be multiplied by the solution or the answer of 180 less 175. Okay, so the answer here is 175.50. Therefore, on the next quarter, 175.50 will be used. Kaya tingnan nyo dito on the third quarter, andito siya. Okay, 175.50 plus 0.10. Okay, ang nandito na naman na data is yung base doon sa next quarter. Last quarter or yung quarter 2, okay, na actual and the forecast. Ano yung actual and forecast niya on quarter 2? 168 and 175. Therefore, 168 less 175.50, less mo yan, then i-multiply mo by 0.10 which is the exponential smoothing value, i-plus mo sa 175.50. So therefore, ang magiging forecast units mo ngayon is 174.75. But the actual tonnage unloaded is 159 only. So, sumobra yung forecast natin. Now, on the fourth quarter, okay, actually, same lang din yung process. Pero, para masundan ninyo class, okay, uubusin na lang natin, okay, yung process. Ayan. In getting the quarter or the forecast on the quarter 4, ibe-base pa din natin itong 174 dito sa next quarter. 174.75 times 0.10. And then 159 less 174.75. Saan ulit? Nakuha yan doon sa quarter 3 na actual and forecast. Ito, oh. Ayan. Diba? Okay, so the answer here is 172.93. So, mas close siya doon sa actual tonnage na na-unload. 172 yung forecast natin, ang actual 175. Okay? So, dito, on the fifth quarter, gagamitin natin yung forecast niya last year or last quarter, 172.93. Okay? Plus, okay, gagamitin naman natin yung actual and forecast last quarter or quarter number 4. 175 less 172 times 0.10 plus 172.93. Kaya magiging answer natin dito, the forecast here is 173.14. Okay. Ayan. So, which is very far, Ben. Quite far din sa actual. Sumobra ang actual, yung forecast natin 173. Okay? So, 205, sa quarter 6, 173 yung basis natin based on the previous quarter plus 0.10 multiply by the solution of 190 less 173.14 kasi yan yung actual and previous, okay, or actual or forecast natin last time. Okay? Yan. Kaya meron tayong forecast na 174.83 which is very far pa din doon sa actual tonnage unloaded which is 205. Okay? On the next quarter, 174.83 which is based on the previous plus 0.10. Okay, 205 less 174. Saan itong 205 again, class? Ayan, for better understanding ito. Okay, yung previous quarter. Sa previous talaga kayo magbabase ng value dito. Okay, 205 less 174.83. And then, on the last quarter, last two quarters, 177.85, nagbase tayo dito sa last. Then, 180 less 177.85 times 0.10 plus 177.85. Therefore, ang answer niya is 178.07. Okay, then gagamitin na naman 1.78.07 plus 0.10 times, ito yung answer natin, 182 less 178 which is the actual and the forecast previous quarter or quarter 8. So if you want to proceed, ayan, ayan. Hindi naman binigay yung actual dito, no? So hindi pa tayo makakasolve dyan. So ang pwede pa lang natin magamit na data is from quarters 1 to 8. Okay? Etong forecast with 0.50, so hindi na natin siya sasagutan muna. So mag-focus muna tayo sa isang exponential smoothing value. So hindi pa dyan nagtatapos. Okay? Gagawin pa natin or isa-solve pa natin yung mean absolute deviation. Hindi pa yan. That's the first step. Okay? So ito, kokopyahin natin to. Ito yung mga forecast, right? So, na ang gamit natin is 0.10 as exponential smoothing value. Ito yung mga actual tonnage na na-unload. Ito, huwag kayong mag-alala. Ayan. And then, the absolute deviation for the exponential smoothing value. So, paano ba natin nakuha yung absolute deviation? That is the difference between the actual tonnage unloaded and our forecast. So, ililess mo lang itong actual less the forecast, makukuha mo to. Okay, so meron tayong nag-negative, meron din nag-positive. But here, for you, ang next step kasi natin is i-add natin lahat ng absolute deviation ng kada quarter. But here, in adding the sum of all deviation, you have to disregard or ignore the negative sign. Okay, ayan yung rule natin ha, ignore natin. So, 7 plus 5 plus 750 plus 15.75, don't mind the negative sign. Okay? So if you are going to add it all together, 83.45. 83.45 will be divided by the number of periods. Diba? Sabi ko, divided by n. Okay. Ayan. Ilan ba yung number of periods? 8 quarters, sir. Okay. So, iti-divide natin siya by 8. 83.45 divides 8. Then, our mean absolute deviation is 10.43. Okay. So, I hope nasundan. Okay, so that's mean absolute deviation. Now, what about if we are going to solve, sir, mean absolute percent error? So we are going to use pa din uh, this data we have above. So kaya lang, i-convert natin siya into percentage. So ganun pa din, actual less forecast over the number of periods. So we have quarters 1 to 8. Ito pa din yung actual tonnage unloaded natin based sa previous data na ginamit. Ito pa din yung forecast natin based sa 0.10 na exponential smoothing value. Okay, ito yung absolute deviation natin. Okay. Ito oh. Tinanggal ko na yung negative side to avoid confusions, class. Okay, inad ko. Ayan. 83.45. Now, ito, kukunin natin yung percentage. Paano ko ba kinuha ang percentage? So, yung formula kasi 100 multiply by actual less forecast over actual. Okay? So, over the n. Ayan. Okay. So, dito, to get your percentage, your absolute deviation will be divided by the actual tonnage unloaded. So, kaya 5 over 180 times 100. 750 over 168 times 100. 15.75 over 159 times 100. 2.07 over 1.75 times 100. 16.86 over 190 times 100. Okay, isa-isahin lang natin para hindi kayo malito. 30.17 over 205 times 100. 2.15, okay, over 180. And 3.94 over 182. I-add mo to lahat. Okay, percentage na yan. 2.78%, so on and so forth. I-add mo na naman yan lahat. Okay, so you could have 45.28%. I-divide mo na naman yan by the number of periods. Ilan ba yung periods? Quarter. 8 quarters, sir. So divided by 8, therefore, our mean absolute percent error is 5.6%. Okay? So 5.6%, decimal point ko lang yan, but magmo-move lang tayo ng 2 decimal places. Okay? So that's 5.6%. So that's how you solve mean absolute deviation and mean absolute percent error. So I hope meron kayong natutunan out from this video tutorial, and as rest assured that I will be making more videos pa for your better understanding. So see you next meeting for our next topic and video tutorial.